Now we are going to give you the agenda of today's webinar. We are going to start with the introduction of the topic and introduction of the speakers. After that, I'm going to give the floor to Oliveira to introduce INCiTIS-FOOD project, and later to Martina, who will present the EWABELT project. After that, the central part of our session will be experts' presentations and insights, and we will leave the open floor for discussion at the end, as I mentioned. So today we are going to talk about water and soil or land management in Sierra Leone. This topic is important because, as you know, hunger levels in Africa are rising due to food insecurity, COVID-19, climate change, and many other factors. For that reason, we need to effectively manage our resources, this means allocating and ensuring that people have safe food. The EWABELT and INCiTIS-FOOD projects are both addressing these challenges through soil and water management in many African countries. But today we are focused especially on Sierra Leone. Research focus of the both projects are exploring organic fertilization, agro-livestock combinations, aquaponic and hydroponic systems. These approaches are very important additions to the strategies that are already in place in Sierra Leone and other parts of Africa. So to sum up, today we are going to highlight innovative approaches tested by researchers and community representatives that are doing this both in labs and on the field. Now, let me introduce our speakers. So starting off with Anne-Marie, she holds a bachelor's degree in natural resources management and a master's degree in aquaculture fisheries management from Nyala University. Through her academic journey, she actively participated in many practical sessions, presentation, research work, and so on. This expertise gave her opportunities like collaboration with the waste management department of her province's city council, and now she serves as a co-manager of the Living Lab in the INCiTIS-FOOD project at Nyala University. Moving on, Samuel got his degree in aquaculture and fisheries management from Nyala University, and he's currently pursuing his master's degree in the same field. During his undergraduate studies, he served as the president of faculty and contributed significantly to both academic and social development. His passion for gender equality and advancing aquaculture led him to participating in many projects that are funded by different organizations such as European Union, FAO, and so on. Currently, he works as a Living Lab technician on the INCiTIS-FOOD project, where he is applying his expertise in innovative solutions for food production. Dr. Julius is a distinguished academic and professional with a background in fisheries and agriculture. He served as Dean of the School of Natural Resources Management at Njala University and made significant contributions to this field through his extensive research and practical experience. Dr. Julio specializes in plant science, aquaculture, and fisheries management. Currently, he leads the project in INCiTIS-FOOD, a project in Sierra Leone, focusing on advancing food security and sustainable agriculture. And last but not least, Dr. Mohammed, he is passionate about modeling the effects of agricultural drainage systems on crop production, and he has conducted various researches in the fields of agriculture, irrigation, and agricultural drainage systems. He holds a Master of Philosophy degree in irrigation and drainage from the University of Development Studies and a Bachelor's in Agriculture and Food Sciences from the University of Makeni in Sierra Leone. And he is currently a lecturer at that faculty for Agricultural and Food Sciences, University of Makeni. And he's also the project lead for EWABELT at Sierra Leone. That would be it about our speakers. Now I leave the floor to Olivera to tell us more about the INCiTIS-FOOD.
Thank you so much, Christina, for this great overview and introduction to our speakers. And thank you to all of our attendees for taking up the time to join us. Bear with me until the presentation just starts. Well, hello, my name is Olivera. Like Christina introduced me, I'm head of ecosystem development at Food Scale Hub. And today I'm going to give a quick overview of our INCiTIS-FOOD project that stands for Integrated and Circular Technologies for Sustainable City Region Food Systems in Africa. So what does our project stand for, do, and look like? We are coordinated by Professor Dr. Gertrude, who is currently within us with the call. So in case you have any questions related to her work or to our project in general, she'll also be happy to jump in. But we comprise of partners from Europe and Africa. We're a Horizon Europe-funded project, and we have started in January 2023 and are lasting for 4 years. So in terms of our goal, INCiTIS-FOOD aims to enhance food and nutritional security in Africa city regions by reducing environmental impacts and promoting circular food systems. How do we do this? We do this by community empowerment. The project focuses on empowering communities by creating opportunities in the agri-food supply chain and promoting environmental justice through transformative food policies. And how are we trying to achieve this? Well, INCiTIS-FOOD will adopt an interdisciplinary approach, integrating technologies, engaging stakeholders, building capacity, and of course, fostering European-African partnerships for this collaborative engagement. In essence, we are moving from a lean multi-actor approach and this approach of integrating living labs by having an innovative engagement strategy, prototyping, interactive development, and large-scale demonstrations. So what all of these words and phrases for our project mean? Our interactive approach is the combination of a multi-actor approach and a lean startup methodology, fostering collaboration amongst dedicated innovators across 8 living labs. We are doing prototyping and standardization of practices. We are innovating processes that begin with use cases and are trying to standardize them alongside all of our living labs. How do we do this? We do this through interactive development, meaning that we involve actors in different living labs working on the same use case, engaged in capacity building and mutual learning. The interactive development city cycle includes evaluating and responding to the end user's feedback, resulting in improving of our solutions and our end goal. And of course, our large-scale demonstrators. Through the INCiTIS-FOOD project, we aim to have 2 open calls or financial support to third parties that will further enhance and further support the development of the solutions we try to install in Africa. And what are the technologies and what are the solutions that we are trying to do or create? Those are circular. And INCiTIS-FOOD focuses on co-creating circular agri-food technologies, practices, as well as business models that are tailored to an inclusive food system in African urban areas. We have a dual approach to this. We have a technology emphasis and, of course, a sustainability aspect. Our technology emphasis means that the prototypes prioritize 3 agri-food technologies: hydroponics, aquaponics, and insect farming, some of which will be highlighted today. And of course, the sustainability aspect is very important in our circularity approach, meaning that these circular agri-food technologies are well suited for African city regions because they're resource efficient, require minimal water, land, and even financial resources. I mentioned briefly our concept of integrating living labs. And what are living labs? They are, in contrast to traditional laboratories, they operate in real-life contexts with user-centric approaches. INCiTIS-FOOD has 8 living labs located in 6 different countries, and you can see our locations in the map. Today's webinar will focus on our Sierra Leone living lab and their experiences and insights from their region. And of course, living labs led by our African partner organization provide the ideal location to foster that socio-technological innovation through this co-design, co-creation, and capacity building approach that INCiTIS-FOOD strongly focuses on. And even though I did showcase our diagrams, I wanted to showcase as well as what INCiTIS-FOOD actually is. It is our story, and you will be able to hear firsthand what the situation is in our living labs and what our partners are doing. So without further ado, I thank you for the floor and I give it back to Christina. So please take away.
Thank you, Olivera, for the presentation. It was lovely. And I will now ask Martina to give us her presentation about EWABELT project. Martina, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you to all our participants for joining us today. I also want to thank personally the speakers and the panelists who have accepted our invitation. So thank you very much. So you should be now able to see my screen. I am Martina. I am the communication manager of the EWABELT project that stands for Linking East and West African Farming Systems Experience into a Belt of Sustainable Intensification. We are 20 partners all across 10 countries. Most of them are in sub-Saharan countries, with 3 countries from East Africa and 3 other countries in West Africa. And as you know, today we are working and we are listening to the best practices that the EWABELT project is implemented in Sierra Leone. In particular, we have also established 34 FRUs that we call, that are basically the farmer field research units, where activities, research, insights and results are being tested and implemented and also validated. So what is the overall objective of the project? The project aims at promoting agricultural production systems based on a sustainable intensification approach in different agroclimatic areas of East and West Africa. And in doing so, we eventually want to realize an interregional African belt that is able to promote sustainable intensification approaches and technologies through the exchange of best practices and experience among different contexts, and take these experiences out and beyond the borders of the project and extending them also in other countries and regions. So to do so, we are focusing on 7 different technologies or best practices. So we're working on neglected and underutilized crop species. We're also working on sustainable soil and water management, which is exactly the focus of today's webinar, together with agri-livestock management. But we're also working on land recovery and plant protection, and how the ICTs and in general digital innovations can enter the picture and enhance the traditional knowledge, as well as to promote other innovative technologies. So with a particular focus on today's meeting, the EWABELT project is working on agri-livestock management. And that is the crop and livestock integration that is considered a promising system to improve sustainability of smallholder mixed farming systems, with the potential to intensify the interaction between crops and livestock towards a higher combined productivity of the individual components. However, we do know, and EWABELT is trying to address this challenge, that the integration between crop and livestock is still a little bit lower than desirable, and this is due to many different reasons. First of all, there is an increased land pressures, but also poor markets and a limited ease of practice are making this integration harder to implement. Also, agri-livestock management requires more labor in manure handling, and again, also more initial capital investment. So it makes it even harder for farmers who are not only not used to have that or implement this kind of management into their smallholder systems, but it takes also a lot of money to do so. So it makes it even harder, considering also the lack of know-how to do so. In Sierra Leone, the EWABELT project is particularly testing and doing research on crop livestock integration. Again, we are working within some selected farmer field research units that Dr. Sezai will later present to you. And the aim of the activities that have been carried out throughout the past 4 years now is to showcase how this system can be operationalized, as well as to identify and to present the challenges and to address them in order to have some kind of benefits for the adoption in the region, and as well as in other contexts. So I stop here, so we have the time to listen to the, I'm sure, insightful presentation. And I give back the word to Cristina, who I think will present the first speakers.
Yes, Martina, thank you very much for your presentation as well. So based on the agenda, I would like to ask Dr. Mohammed to take the floor and give us his presentation.
All right, we're seeing that our partners are just getting ready, so please, participants, just bear with us until we connect the needed screen with the presentation.
Okay, we see it.
If it's possible, can we see the full version, so downloaded version of this presentation? So if you go back at the top, so on the top right, you will see an option to download next to print. So a little printer icon next to it, it will be a download option. There, yes, perfect. So maybe while
I can also share the screen if you'd like.
yeah, that may be beneficial at this moment if the partners would agree.
Yes.
Oh, that's actually,
Martina, can you?
yes, I can share the screen, no problem.
Okay, so let me stop sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
I think you're now able to see
Is it
my.
okay? Sir?
Yeah, we see the screen now perfectly, Martina, and if the presenters can just.
Okay. Sir.
Joseph, can you hear?
Yes, so
Okay.
good morning all. Rightly as Martina has introduced the topic, I am Mohammed Joseph Sise, and for this webinar, I'll be contributing on the topic agri-livestock combination, the potential for soil and crop improvement through organic fertilization. And I'm doing this on behalf of the University of Makeni in Sierra Leone. Next slide, please. So, like Martina introduced the topic, we are part of the EWABELT project, and we are implementing a project on organic fertilization. And so we want to share our insights, what we have done, what is next to be done, and we share our experience with our participants. So for this presentation, I'm going to focus on a brief introduction, looking at the background, what are the problems, the needs, and the challenges, what has been done so far with regards to the project, what are the activities that have been implemented, and some results. And we'll look at the new development, what are we up to, what have we done, and what are the next steps. So for a few minutes, you will get the insights on organic fertilization from the EWABELT project. So, as a background, the organic fertilization, when we talk about organic fertilizers, we are referring to these fertilizers or manures that we derive from natural sources. And this could be from animal manure, from plant remains, or from other organic matter. And so these fertilizers offer many benefits over the chemical fertilizers that our farmers have been used to. And this is because these fertilizers contribute to the health of the soil. It improves the structure, it improves water retention, that is the water holding capacity, and it improves microbial activity, which in turn promotes better nutrient absorption by the plant. And when plants get better nutrients, we all know the ripple effect of getting higher yield, increase in growth and yield. And so the aim of this project is to see how the farmers can use the organic fertilizers that are available with them to increase their crop production. And what is the problem? Why is there a need for us to have this project? Globally, we know that hunger is skyrocketing. There is increase in hunger in all countries, and Sierra Leone is not an exception. And if there is increase in hunger, the only solution is to increase production. Because when we increase production, we can be able to get more food into our various communities. And in Sierra Leone, what happens is that we have farmers moving from one piece of land every year, which we refer to as shifting cultivation. And this is on the increase. And the effects of shifting cultivation, they are very, they are devastating and they are far-reaching, and they have far-reaching consequences on the community and on the environment, because this practice contributes to high scale of deforestation, nutrient loss and soil erosion, and also the infestation of pests and diseases. And so farmers move every year from one piece of land to another. Why? Because they farm there and the soil fertility will decrease. And so it will make them to move to another piece of land. But to avoid these consequences of moving from one piece of land to another, deforesting our environment, we think that there is need for innovative resource management strategies. And one of these could be for these farmers to have the knowledge of how to use organic fertilizers, which is in their disposal to continue to grow their crops. And the inorganic, the small amount of farmers that are using inorganic fertilizers, we know the consequences of using inorganic fertilizers. Some will seep into our water bodies and they will contaminate our water bodies. You have high nitrate levels in the soil and so on. And this is not good for the environment. But with organic fertilization, it improves the structure. It makes the farmers not move from one place to another because there is continuous fertility in the soil. So this is why the project comes in to educate, to show the farmers the need for using organic fertilizers. So what has been done so far? Farmer field research units in 6 districts in Sierra Leone have been selected. We have FFRUs in Kwainadugu, Falaba, Bombali, Potloko, Tongoli, and Kono districts. We choose this district because the rate of deforestation in this district is very high. Farmers are moving every year to farm in other areas. And we thought it fit that if we start with this district and farmers see a need, see improvement in their crops in the same piece of land, then it will be able to cascade this technology to other parts of the country. So we have set up demonstration plots in these districts. We've collected data on soil physical-chemical properties and yield. We've analyzed this data and we have some reports being prepared. So the data on the yield show that during the demonstration plots, we use 3 levels of organic fertilizers. We use, the first one is 6 tons per hectare of organic manure. The second one is 4 tons per hectare of organic manure. And the third one is a control, wherein no organic fertilizer, no fertilizer was applied. And results indicate that in all the crops and in all the districts, the 6 tons per hectare of organic manure gave higher yields compared to the 4 tons and the control. But interestingly, the 6 tons and the 4 tons per hectare gave reasonable yield as compared to the control, which it has given an insight that if we use organic fertilizer, there will be an increase in crop production. The yield data cannot be, for now, cannot be statistically justified, because for organic manure, organic manures are slow releasing they release their nutrients slowly. So in the first year, you cannot see too much of a gap, but in subsequent years, you will see the difference. And so when we also go to the soil physical chemical properties, we will see that we identified certain parameters. We looked at electrical conductivity, we looked at the pH of the soil, we looked at total organic carbon, total nitrogen, and bulk density. So we took data before we introduced the organic manure and after the introduction of organic manure. So for instance, in Tokolili district, when we took data before, we have an EC in the first one of 72.9 microsiemens per centimeter. And after the organic fertilization, we see 168.7. But worth noting is the fact that total nitrogen, which is a very essential element in crop production, also showed an increase from 0.84 to 0.98. So if we see the EC was not statistically different before and after. And as I said before, in 1 year, you cannot actually show, but in subsequent years, you will see the difference. But for the pH, when we use a t-test to check the statistical difference between the before and after, we see that it is significant at P 0.01. Also for total nitrogen. The same goes for corn. Again, when we looked at the data, we saw that there is difference in the parameters. For instance, EC, pH, and total carbon showed significant differences. Also for the bulk density. Same applies to the other districts. So if we look at the results, we'll see that in all the districts, there are differences between before organic fertilization and after. And this goes in line with various research that have been conducted that says organic fertilizer contribute to the soil physical chemical properties. Next slide, please. So the results are the same. So now, after conducting the first experiment, we saw that there is need for a validation experiment to be conducted. And so now what we have done is to set up a validation experiment. Currently, it is running in the various districts, and we've even set up a demo, a hub for the university where we perform all these experiments with different crops and now send our field researchers to conduct same in all the districts. So we'll look at the main objective of this validation experiment is to examine the potential of using organic manure in enhancing soil improvement and crop performance. Specifically, we want to look at how these organic manures, the effect it has on soil physical chemical properties, and at the same time, the effect it has on the growth and yield of crops. So the design of the experiment will just be an RCBD, that is a randomized complete block design with 3 replications, and the treatment will comprise full rate of organic manure, half rate of organic, full rate of inorganic, half rate of inorganic, half rate of organic plus half rate of inorganic, and 0 as a control. To justify why we use this experiment is the fact that organic fertilizers are not in abundance. And so we want to see if we apply half rate of inorganic, what will be the effect on the yield and growth parameters. But same so we want to see if we apply half rate of organic, if we don't have enough and apply half rate of inorganic, what will be the effect? If we don't apply at all, what will also be the effect? And full rate here depends on the crop. So it is crop specific because different crops require different amounts of fertilizers. So the target districts will also remain the 6th district to validate the findings of the first experiment. So we will carry all agronomic operations and we'll collect data on growth and the yield parameters and also soil physicochemical properties. And these data will be analyzed using GenStat statistical package version 12. What are the challenges we faced so far? The late commencement of activities, the project, we did not commence as stipulated due to the COVID-19. And also, most of the farmers we have, these farmers have been used to development projects. So we are facing some challenges because this project is a research project. We want to find out the implications of using organic manure in their crops. So but when we go to the field, they always expect, as the development projects have been doing, to have something, and that is also a challenge. But with time, we are talking to them and we are educating them on the importance of the research project. So lack of sufficient organic manure, as we said, organic manure is not in abundance. And so if we want to apply it in many hectares of land, it's also, it poses a challenge on us. And that is why we are still doing a demonstration plots to see the effect. Our next steps will be data collection and analysis for the validation of the experiment that we are currently running. We want to encourage more adapters in targeted districts. Then after that, we will evaluate the technology and see how we can also replicate the technology to other districts. I want to thank you very much for your attention and look forward to receiving comments, feedbacks, suggestions, and questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I believe we all had great time listening. And I would also ask people if they have any comments or questions. You can use chat or at the end of the webinar, you can unmute yourself and ask question directly. Once again, thank you. And now I'm asking, again, according to agenda, Nyala University team to start presenting. Are you there? I believe Samuel is the one who should start. Nyala University, are you here?
I have seen them unmute, but at this moment I don't see them. So Nyala University team, are you able to hear us? Ah, great. I see their camera is now working. So let's give them a few more seconds to unmute. So whenever you feel ready.
Perhaps someone has a question for, oh, now I see both.
Yeah, they're here. They're here. They're just trying to, let's not interfere with the questions. We might interfere with their presentation for the time. So let's give them a few more seconds to connect. So from what I know, worst case scenario, we have the presentation pre-recorded. and we will be able to share it. So Nala University team, yeah, we can hear you.
So
You can hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
yeah, sorry, we've been having intermittent network issues because of the heavy rainfall, but we are okay now, so we can start. Can you please share the slide?
Great, thank you so much.
All right, I want to thank you. Before I start my presentation, I want to thank the organizers of this webinar and to our sponsors, the European Union. Our team today will be presenting on the topic, resource management optimization, two sides of the same coin, soil and water management in Sierra Leone. Next slide, please. My name is Jibrila Samuel Jallo, the technician, Jala University, Sierra Leone Live Lab. I'm your first speaker. Madam Anne-Marie Bangura, co-manager, Jala University, Sierra Leone Live Lab, is our second speaker. Olufemi Julius Olapade, the PI and the manager for the Jala University, Sierra Leone Live Lab, will be our third and final speaker. Next slide. So today I will be talking of aquaponics solution for better water use and management. But first, I would like to introduce the term aquaponics. Aquaponics is an integrated multi-trophic fish and plant production in quasi-closed recirculating system. This, in other words, means that aquaponics system is a closed-loop system that combines both aquaculture, which is the raising of fish, and hydroponics, which is the growing of plants without using soil. This system is incredibly efficient as it uses 90% less water as compared to traditional system of farming. And little amount of this water is being lost to evaporation or runoff. This system is innovative, urban and peri-urban system. Of course, we know the inimical effects of urbanization. People in urban areas, in cities, are left with little to no land space to practice agricultural practices. So this system is one system that perfectly fits into this type of scenario. And it is important for African food system solution, which is why the INCiTIS-FOOD system project is in play to ensure that we achieve food sustainability and sufficiency. Next slide. Next slide, please. All right, the economic benefits of aquaponics system. Aquaponics system has numerous economic benefits. It is resource efficient, it is cost saving, it is swellless, hence does not require swell for its operations. The system is suitable for urban and peri-urban use and for peri-urban food intervention. It reduces water usage about 90% less water than conventional agriculture. And this is true. In traditional system of farming, water is applied to the crop by irrigation, and this can result to significant water loss through due to evaporation, infiltration, and runoff. But in contrast, in an aquaponic system, the water is being recirculated through the fish tank and the plant beds, and the plants, they are acting as a natural filter, getting rid of all waste materials in the water and make the water fine for the fish in the system. This system also converts waste into wealth. It is convenient and easy to manage. Production is all year round in the system. For example, you can plant pepper in the system year in, year out, and you not be bothered about soil degradation as it is for natural traditional system of farming. You can combine the system also with other engagements. If you are a career person, you can go to your workplace, you can come back and it will be fine while practicing this system. This system also uses less water quality monitoring than hydroponics, and it is water efficient, like I mentioned earlier. It has media beds for plant growth that doubles as surface for the nitrogen fixing bacteria. And nutrients comes from fish. no added nutrient cost, no fertilizers. And this is one unique part of it. The aquaponics system does not use chemical fertilizers that damage the soil or water qualities, because the system is a closed loop system, and meaning chemical fertilizers are not used in this system. So the system also do not tolerate pesticides use, like for conventional agriculture, where the system in conventional agriculture often relies on pesticides use, fungicides use, herbicides. But for this system, it tolerates little to no pesticides use at all. You will not be bothered about weeding, and it is flexible in any location. Next slide, please. Different designs of aquaponics system. Of course, like what we have here in our living lab, we have these 3 different designs. We have the nutrient film technique and the media bed. The deep water culture is also part of the system that we have here at our living lab here at Jala University. Next slide, please. Sources and use of water in aquaponics system. Borehole water is fine. Deep well is fine. River well, if you have that in your community. And during extreme conditions, you can as well harvest rainwater and treat it so that you can be able to use in the system. Next slide, please. Components of the water system in an aquaponics system. As you can see on the slide, the fish tank, of course, is obvious. It holds the fish in the system. The pump supplies or distributes water into the various components in the system. You have the grow beds, the media beds, the NFT pipes, and the biofilter tank that filters life materials in the system. You also have the sludge tank, the radar tank, the deep water culture, the sump, which I often call the reservoir of the system because it holds the bulk of the water in the system, and the plant holders that serves as a frame to support the plants to stand. Next slide, please. Managing water in an aquaponics system. Why do we manage water in this system? We manage water in order to maintain nutrient balance, like nutrients like the pH level, the temperature, which are critical for plant and fish growth. To also prevent the buildup of harmful bacteria and harmful substances like ammonia and nitrates, which in high amounts can be toxic to fish and the plant. For proper water management, also, this practice helps maintain the right balance of bacteria and other microorganisms. It also helps to convert the fish wastewater to usable nutrients by the plant in the system. Next slide, please. Water recirculation in an aquaponics system. Of course, water is being recycled in the system by the aid of a submersive pump in the sump, which circulates or distributes water in the various components in the system. And why water recirculation? This helps to oxygenate and to mix nutrients well in the system. It also helps to remove excess waste products such as ammonia and uneaten fish food from the water. It also helps to distribute nutrients evenly, which helps ensures that all plants receives an adequate supply of nutrients. Helps maintain a consistent water temperature, which is essential for the health of the fish and the plant. Next slide. So maintaining optimal water conditions in the aquaponics system. To achieve this, you conduct regular water testing, you change water when necessary or when you perceive a buildup of ammonia. The table here shows the water parameters, recommended range, which you can adopt in the system. Like we have the ammonia, the pH, the nitrite, and the temperature and oxygen. All these parameters are also in this table. This is for reference sake. Next slide. How to change water in an aquaponics system. Like we do here, most often we do partial water change by topping up, which refresh the water. We back flush to get rid of excess sludge. We drain completely. That is when we harvest the fish. Why change water in an aquaponics system? We change water in an aquaponics system to get rid of waste, to regulate the pH, to replenish nutrients, in the system to improve water quality and to also prevent water quality nutrient balance. Next slide. So the summary of this overall aquaponics system is a suitable system than traditional agricultural system because of this system is a closed loop system and does not tolerate or it limits the use of pesticides, herbicides in the system and produces little amount of waste product and eliminates the need of chemical or harmful chemicals in the system. So therefore, the potential for this system to complement the traditional system is enormous because this system provides sufficient and efficient and sustainable food production system. So I want to thank you for your audience and I want to give room to the next speaker, Madam Anne-Marie Bangura, to do our own talk on the presentation. This one. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Anne-Marie Bangura, co-manager in USL Living Lab. I'm presenting on the title Black Soldier Fly for Composting.
Sorry to interrupt, but
Biology of the Black Soldier Fly.
Hi, sorry to interrupt you, but you will need to speak up a little bit. We are having an issue hearing you.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello, can you hear?
Yes, we can hear you.
It's all right, thank you.
Black Soldier Fly for Composting. Biology of the Black Soldier Fly. Black soldier fly, scientifically known as Hemitia illucin, is a deterrent fly and are ubiquitous. They are capable of converting bio-waste to useful and valuable products. The mature fly is roughly the length of the thumbnail, as seen in the picture. It's long, skinny, and dark in color. Their coloration varies based on their geographical location. The adult fly doesn't possess a real mouth part. Then they don't feed. They only suck up water to live long enough to mate and lay their eggs. Thereafter, they die a day or two. Next slide, please. The life cycle of the black soldier fly. The black soldier fly undergoes a complete metamorphosis. The cycle is completed within a period of 40 to 43 days under favorable rearing condition. In adverse condition, it can last up to 6 months with a temperature of less than 25 degrees C and above 45 degrees C and a relative humidity of 60%. An abundant natural light and a warm temperature of 25 to 32 degrees C is required for adult mating and egg laying. Hence, a humid environment may prolong the adult BSF fly lifespan. As shown in the picture, the adult fly lays its egg and move on to the larva stage. Thereafter, it transitions into a pre-pupa where it now turns into a pupa and emerge into the fly, and the process starts all over again. Next slide. The importance of the black soldier fly. The black soldier fly is important in that it degrades organic bio-waste through composting. It serves as a valuable source of protein for fish, poultry, and pig production. The digestate are suitable as effective organic fertilizers in crop production. The BSF oil is useful in pharmaceutical and cosmetic industry. It helps in reducing greenhouse gases and also provide employment and gainful returns to youth and women. Why composting with the black soldier fly? Composting with the black soldier fly is fast, efficient, with no hustle. The soldier fly is found almost everywhere and in warm climate and shaded environments. They can feed on all types of biodegradable, like meat and fermented waste are their favorites. Like the good house fly, the black soldier fly doesn't carry diseases. It has no real mouth part, and so they don't bite or hang around your backyards. The fresh and nitrates are amazing fertilizers for your garden. They dispose of all organic waste quicker than the worms. Next slide. Next slide, please. BSF production systems. There are many production systems, but three stands out. That is the sack system, the deep water system, and the use of the composting bin. As seen in the picture, the sack system is mostly used to maximize space and to monitor the growth parameters of the black soldier fly. For the deep litter system, it can be placed in an open space to ensure flexibility of space and working time. It produces large quantity of larvas. While the composting bin is the simplest of all, it helps in speeding up decomposition with proper aeration and water retention. Slide 2. Steps to composting with the black soldier fly. When composting with the black soldier fly, you need to ensure that there is a waste bin. The waste bin should be filled with a quarter of rotten and smelling waste. The waste can include table scraps, restaurant leftover, fast food, livestock manure, plants, spent coffees, and grains. Also ensure that the bin is protected from rain and direct sunlight. Feed will be replenished to the bin on a daily basis. To improve nutrient releasing, absorption and growth of the larva, add biochar or carbonized rice hull. Also, the bin should be presented from insect. The temperature of 25 to 30 degrees C and relative humidity of 60% and above should be monitored. Next slide. Harvesting with the black soldier fly. Harvesting the black soldier fly can be harvested 12 days after feeding. For use in poultry feed, harvest larval between 14 to 21 days. The BSF nutritional acquisition is maximum around 12 days of feeding. Manual feed harvesting with sheave and hand picking is recommended for small-scale production. A sheave mesh size of around 3 mm should be used for manual sheaving. Self-harvesting by the larva using light and perforated bag or bin. Next slide. Extraction of liquid and solid organic waste. Organic waste is extracted when the BSF larvae are separated during harvesting. The liquid and soil organic manure are excellent fertilizers for vegetable production, as seen in the picture. It is well sought after by farmers as much command a good price and does not impact the soil negatively. Next slide. In summary, the ultimate waste converter. Waste management is a serious problem in most urban and peri-urban cities in Africa. Improperly management organic waste constitutes environmental nuisance. And so through black soldier fly composting, this can easily be solved. Besides waste management, the BSF offers other important economic benefits. I want to thank you all.
Next.
Thank you, Ms. Anne-Marie Bangura, for the presentation of black soldier fly, which is one of the components of the INCiTIS, the living lab at Jalan University. So in summary, that's what I would say. The third speaker, Olufemi Julius Olakwade. I'm the principal investigator. I am the lab manager. As you can see on the slide, the different units which we have in the Jala University Living Lab. We have a project estate. That is how I call the project location. And in the project estate, we have the living lab. In the living lab, we have the aquaponics units. We have the hydroponics units. I'm not going to dwell much on this because the first speaker, Mr. Jibril Ajalo, already mentioned the various components of the aquaponics and also the components of the hydroponics. In our project estate, we have the BSF units, which is at the back of the living lab itself. And because our project is a research-based project, we also have outdoor research where we try to compare the innovative INCiTIS-FOOD project with the traditional farming method as presented by Dr. Sise from McKinney University. We want to have the right information to pass across to the off-takers of this research endeavor. So we grow crops in the living lab. We also grow them outside the living lab to do a proper comparison. The BSF units, Madam Anne-Marie already expatiated on that. Dr. Sise made mention of the use of organic manure. You can see that organic manure is quite very relevant because of its usefulness in ensuring good soil texture and structure, and also giving the best. And we are in the era of organic products, which sells like gold or diamond in the international markets. So we have the BSF units. We have a master student working on that. And we intend at the end to be able to produce feed, which is quite expensive in Sierra Leone. We import feed either from Ghana or from Nigeria. This does not augur well for the growing aquaculture subsector of the economy of Sierra Leone. Lastly, on this slide, we have planned future innovative activities. One, we are thinking of raising snails, which is quite edible, proteinous, good for diabetes patients and high blood pressure patients. We've already started setting up the space. As part of our future innovative plans, we are also going to look into cricket farming to kind of augment feed need of livestock and fish farming in Sierra Leone. This is what we do. The time is not there for me to go on and on. The last slide, please. So here in the last slide, we can only show you just few pictures. So you can see our NFT pipes where we grow okra for research. And you can't see the rest of the slide, but it's a very beautiful environment because it's really living. It's a living lab. You can see our students here doing research, carrying out research on the growth of fish in relation to the environment where they are growing. Then the last slide, our students are on the outdoor farm units where they are taking phenotypic informations on the growth of the fish. So, I mean, of the okra that we have. So lastly, we grow okra, we are tried tomato, we are on lettuce, we are on mint, and we've experimented with Dutch, Scotch bonnets, the green pepper, and they have given very wonderful results, which we are going to cascade in our publications, and also when we have stakeholders meeting here. So lastly, you can see our BSF unit. You can see some of the pupated eggs and the bulk container is here. So I want to thank you for your time. We have exceeded the time allotted to me. Thank you for your time. And we are here to entertain your questions, your concerns, and your comments. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
That was very nice. We all enjoyed it, I believe. Now I would give the floor to Olivera.
Thank you so much, speakers. We would first like to thank all of our attendees for taking the time to enjoy the presentations, to listen, and I know that you have been taking notes carefully. We have a few questions already in the chat, so we will start with those. But before we do, again, thank you to the speakers for accepting the invitation. Thank you to you for taking the time out of your busy schedules to show what you have been working on and to inspire other people to do similar things and activities. So the first question for the chat that we have is for our first speaker. So the question was the research been conducted already, or is it going to be conducted in the future? So what are the landscapes around the research that you presented us? Is it published somewhere? Are you going to do further research on it? So just please explain a little bit more on it.
Yes, thank you very much. I want to thank Stevenson for that question. The research is in two poles. We have conducted first research, and those were the results that I presented. But also I mentioned that there is a validation experiment going on. And for now, we are still carrying on the activities, and we'll have the results in the next few months. So together, the two results will now be harmonized and then published into a reputable journal. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for the response. And I think, yes, thank you to the speakers. We're getting the response that was an answer that was justifiable and looked for. Our question now that we have for our Sierra Leone team from INCiTiS-FOOD is, from your experience so far, what has been the feeling from the community, and what was the let's say, speculations that you have for the influence of these technologies on water conservation in Sierra Leone in general? So how did the people engage so far, and how do you see this translating to water saving in your region in general?
So maybe I can just quickly intervene on behalf of the first speaker. Although we did not mention some of the challenges which we encounter, and I think one of them is water. We depend on borehole and deep well water using submersible pumps. But you know, the environment where we stayed, the supply of water is based on availability of electricity provided by the university using the generator. And most times you have fluctuation. And when you have a breakdown, you have a problem of water. But I can assure you, I can tell you that with the system we operate, whoever wants to uptake it can rest assured that that problem can easily be surmounted, in the sense that when you start and you fill your tanks appropriately according to recommended volumes, you don't change water often. Sometimes water is supplemented or added monthly because it is recirculation. So water is carefully managed, quality is monitored to ensure that nothing goes wrong. Our project here is already attracting a lot of attention. And let me apologize on behalf of people who couldn't join. Sierra Leone has been experiencing heavy downpour of rain So internet connectivity is a problem that they've been sending message. Please send the recording to us. So they are well aware. And hopefully in 2 weeks, we are bringing diverse stakeholders all across the nation to visit Jala. We have valuable products that we have developed here. And within the space where we are, people know this project. Students know this project, they come. And I can tell you that some people are already doing things related to this project. So water is easy to manage in this project. If we have a shutdown of water, we have another water source where we go, where we can easily use our jerry can, our buckets to fetch water, and we had. So it is not a big deal like the conventional agriculture or irrigated system. So I can assure the questioner that we are okay with water and we are fine and we are doing excellently well.
Thank you so much. We actually have a follow-up question in the chat for our Yale University team. So how will the research that you do translate to farmers and then contribute to their food production? So how will what you do help other people do similar things?
I would say that we are not the first doing this research in Sierra Leone. We have a German, if I'm not wrong, who is in Kenema, Salon Aquaponics, who is also into the aquaponics system, and we do interact very well. We've set up our Sierra Leone onboarding, and it's a member of the onboarding. And I'm the president of Sierra Leone Fisheries and Aquaculture Society. So everything we do here, we send them to our WhatsApp, and we also make sure that we send them to the various social media, like the Facebook and the LinkedIn. And besides people being aware of what we do locally, we are working hard to ensure that we produce a kind of a small book to further cascade the activities. It's going to be a picture book with small narrations. And the research of our students also, we are going to publish them, and we have planned to start to write small pieces of information and send them to the local journals for wider spread of the result of our innovative activities. So a lot of things have been put in place to ensure that people are aware, they receive the innovation, they uptake it, and it becomes a norm in Sierra Leone. I think we need it in Sierra Leone because of the poverty level. We need it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Very, very detailed explanation. So thank you so much for it. And a question for both of our speakers. So how can the technologies and the solutions help traditional farmers integrate it into their livelihood? So for our first speaker, how do you see the research that you have done positively influence traditional farmers?
Yes, so I think that is the essence of the research, to train farmers on the use of organic fertilizers because of the numerous benefits that they have. One, it makes them stop moving from one piece of land to another, and that in itself reduces cost, because when you move to another piece of land, you have to do clearing and all the rest of it, and it involves money. And aside that, the use of organic manure is beneficial to the soil, it's beneficial to the crop, and it's beneficial to the environment. So it improves the structure of the soil, it improves water holding capacity, and all these things contribute towards increasing the yield. And when there is an increase in yield, then returns on investment for the farmer will also be increased. And the livelihood of the farmer, which is an integral part of the entire process, is also improved. So we are encouraging them to use organic fertilizers instead of using inorganic And now in Sierra Leone, inorganic fertilizers are very expensive. So if you have organic fertilizers that are, cost effective, why don't you use them? So that is the essence of the project, to train these farmers to use organic fertilizers.
So to summarize for our audience, the idea of training is how we are trying to integrate change as part of livelihood. That's very, very beneficial and very relevant, as people oftentimes face a difficulty in capacity and knowledge. So building that and allowing that to be present gives people an opportunity to change and shift their farming practices. So another question, to our Nyala University team is, how can these technologies, so these circular technologies, help traditional farmers in their livelihoods? So how would you see this?
All right, I want to intervene.
Yes, please.
Yeah, like for the system we have here, of course, we are talking about water use and efficiency. The water in this system is quite nutritious. Of course, I spoke about back flushing whenever we perceive excess accumulation of sludge. This water can as well be used as organic fertilizer. And what we did here at the lab here, the excess sludge that we normally scoop from these tanks, we pack them at one corner. And when they are in excess, we apply them again outdoor in the crops that we are planting outdoor. And this is quite also lucrative. You can be doing the aquaponic system, and at the same time, the waste that the solid waste, that is the sludge, can as well generate revenue. If you have that in excess quantity, you can bag them and sell. I think that will solve the problem.
So before, let me just quickly come in. In this our project, we are to develop so many viable products, and we know the products already, and we are working in that direction to start to think of packaging. But to answer and address your question properly, the local farmers who are poor people, who may not be able to afford what we set up here, how do we help them? How can we ensure that they uptake what we are doing? At our GA in Nigeria, Ibadan, so many adaptation of this innovation came up, and we observed that what we call waste locally can easily be used by local farmers to do their own hydroponic or aquaponic system. So all we needed to do is to cascade this information to them. And this is possible through the open show, which we are going to embark on very soon. So we are going to be showing them the simple ways of getting water, how to ensure that water does not become a problem, what they can use in their environment, like the use of disposed water bottles, the use of bamboos, and so many other things that are locally available to get them on board with minimal finance support. So it is possible, it is doable at the back of the house. Everybody can do it. So that is the mission. We may be slow like a tortoise, but we are focused. And we want to make sure that this project rub emphatically on our food system in Sierra Leone, such that at the end of this project, we'll be able to say, this is the impact of the INCiTIS-FOOD project. We are serious about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the passion. And thank you so much for both speakers explaining how we can include this in livelihoods. We have one question also for Ms. Anna Marie. So the question for you is, what could be some positive effects of using black soldier flies in rural areas? So how could that help rural areas enhance their food production?
Using black soldier fly. Using black soldier fly in rural environment can provide employment for unemployed youth. The compost from the BSF can serve as a manure for the crop producers. And also, it can help to provide protein for our livestock, like the fish, cattle, and pigs.
Thank you, Madam Anne-Marie, for that. In Kenya, Zimbabwe, and some other West African countries, the use of black soldier fly is a serious business from which people earn a lot of income. That is also possible here in Sierra Leone.
Great.
Our people are living in poverty. Can we raise them from that poverty through simple innovation? The black soldier fly. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna-Marie, for this explanation, and thank you for highlighting the importance of providing additional sources of food production and income for different types of farmers, right? For youth and women, and for somebody who wants to find an additional source of income. So thank you so much for the explanation. We are close to the end of our webinar, actually. So we might have time for one more question. So does anybody want to unmute themselves and ask directly our speakers? One more final question before we close this webinar.
I think I have one question for Dr. Sise.
Yes, please.
Looking at the results he presented on the soil parameters, I observed, though a little improvement from the initial pH to the pH that they do have now. It is not a news that most of the soil in Sierra Leone, pH is a problem, even with the water. I can see that his project migrated from a pH of 4 to, I think the highest after the experiment was 5.7. And that is also quite low. So the question is, Dr. Sise, do you have other plans to see to the issue of pH? It's our own perennial problem here. Is there anything that you are going to recommend in your final research as a solution for correcting pH problem in Sierra Leone? Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Prof. Like I said in the initial presentation, we all know that organic fertilizers, they are slow releasing nutrients. They release their nutrients very slowly as compared to the conventional chemical fertilizers. So for a 1 year period, having that result might be encouraging. Moreover, after the validation experiment, we are also going to take data on that same experimental plot to see the difference between the initial, the first year, and then the second year. We might have a tremendous increase or decrease, we might not know. But if there is an increase in the pH, then we can recommend that the use of organic manure maybe in 2-3 years' time will have an effect on controlling the pH. If not, we'll suggest other possible means to correct soil pH. But I am sure after the second year or third year, we'll have results that will be different because of the slow releasing nature of its nutrients.
Thank you so much for the response, and thank you so much for the question. We have reached the end of our webinar. So we would first like to thank all of our participants for staying during this discussion portion. As you see that we covered a lot of different, sorry, can we just stay muted, please? Thank you so much. We have covered different approaches and different perspectives to answering your questions. We have heard from both of our speakers on how they view and see their innovation and their solutions positively influencing livelihoods and changing our food production system. And we have seen that different approaches can actually produce beneficial solutions when we look at the problem from a different perspective and side. Without further ado, then I will just like to thank both of our speakers again for your insights, presentations, and of course the discussion portion. I would like to thank Christina and Martina as part of the co-organizing team, and of course from Food Scale Hub side and as work package leaders in dissemination communication from INCiTIS-FOOD, we thank you. Martina, would you like to say something before we close? And Christina,
Yes,
feel free to add
I just
as well.
wanted to again personally thank all the participants and all our speakers. We just got to the end of a series of webinars, so I wish to thank everyone who attended, and I want to remind all of you that we will be drafting a paper. It's not going to be a scientific paper, but it will contain all the suggestions and all the insights that have emerged throughout the 3 webinars we have organized. So stay tuned. We will draft the paper and publish it. And we would be more than welcome for you to follow us along our journey. And thank you again from EWABELT, from my personal association, OCAM, and thank you, Christina, and thank you, Libera, for the great collaboration that we established. I do hope that we can promote a sustainable future in Africa, but also everywhere with the research and innovations that we all care about. So thank you very much. I think, oh, go ahead, Christina. Sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to say also that I'm very thankful for all of the speakers, not just for this webinar, but the previous 2 also. We had a really good series of webinars, and I hope we can inspire people to practice sustainable agriculture. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep, we can close the webinar.
Yes, so enjoy the rest of your day and your summer vacation if you do have any. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Yes, the document will be shared.